everybody, it's Ashley Boswell and Saki, who's very mouthy right now. All right, today I want to show you two things that I teach horses so that they can become really proficient at Liberty, and one is their name and the other is drawing to me. Now you're going to see a bunch of other things in this video, but we're going to focus on those two things today, and I'll do videos for all the other things that you see in this video another time. Okay, so our verse today is John 10:27. My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. And I love this verse, and it does put me in mind of what we do with horses, because with horses, we want them to hear us and follow us, and we want to do the same thing with our horses. We want to be able to know them the way the Lord knows us, and hear what they're saying to us so that we can adjust how we're in relationship with them. And this is true for people, because as you know, I always try to relate all of what we're doing in training back to our relationships with people. So if you really know someone, then you can have a great relationship with them, right? Because you know them well and you have some common ground and they know you and what makes you tick, and that's what makes for a really good relationship. But none of that can happen without communication. And so when you go back to this verse and several, I've looked at the way the Lord communicates in his word and the way Jesus communicated when he was here on earth, and I found several themes. And the four themes that I found, and there's more than four, but the four that really stuck out to me were that when the Lord communicates with us, he is intentional about his communication, he's specific, and he is concise, and finally he knows us. So he knows how to piece all those things together to benefit how he's communicating with us. And all of those pieces are important in horse training, to be intentional about what we are asking and doing with our horses, to be specific, to be concise, to sum it up and not be too wordy with our body language, and then to really know our horses. But also, those are the components that we need in our relationships in life when we're communicating. Think about how much better your communication with other people would be, and other people's communication with you would be, if we all knew each other well, we were all concise in what we were saying, so that we weren't long-winded like I am sometimes, and that if we were specific, then people would know exactly what we were saying. And then intentional, being intentional, and maybe the opposite of that is impulsive, right? So if we're intentional with our communication. And I'm going to do a video that specifically lines out, specifically and concisely explains those four components of communication. But for now, let me show you how I teach a horse their name and how I teach them to draw to me. Okay, now again, I'm sitting in a chair, so we have a little bit of a challenge, but that just means anybody can do this, right? So here we go. He sounds like he's sleeping. Are you sleeping? All right, so my intentionality here, I've already thought about, being intentional means I've thought about what I want to do and how I want to do it, and I'm now going to communicate that to him. Okay, so the first thing is I gotta back him up, right, and kind of move him out of my space. You don't always have to do this, though. You don't always have to back your horse up. You can back up and draw your horse to you, but for now I'm gonna back him up. So Saki, back. Now, I'm going to say his name again. See, he's learning his name because I'm going to keep saying it. So he's learning by default his name, basically. And then I'm going to use a French word that I like to use for come to me, okay? So you'll hear that word. I'm not going to say it now because he might come. And if he doesn't come to me, I'm going to use my rope and just use my rope to kind of draw him to me. If that doesn't work, I might use my training stick to add some motivation and some energy in my stick to help him want to draw to me, okay? Now, okay, wait just a minute. All right, good job, but not quite yet. So I don't know if you saw that, but I went like this, so he thought that means come to me. Okay, back. It's okay, back. Okay. Saki. Voila. Bravo. Good. Now, I didn't really need the stick or the rope because he was coming to me. However, I wanted to show you what that might look like with the rope and the stick, okay? So with the training stick, I don't use it to touch him. I use it to create some energy behind him, to push him a little bit toward me, or not really push, but encourage him toward me. For some horses, it might feel like a push, and it might be too much. But for this horse, it's an encouragement, and that's why you have to know your horses. So a video on that later too. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do this at Liberty because he's already very good at it. Okay, so I've moved him back. I've got the rope halter off. I'm going to say his name, and I'm going to ask him to come to me, okay? And if I need to use the training stick for a little bit more energy, then I will, but maybe I won't need to. Okay. Saki, voila. Good job. Good boy. All right, so one of the things that I'm very specific about that I didn't do, or I didn't show you earlier, is when they're online, I ask them, then this is getting into being kind of concise and specific, I ask them when they come to me to put their head on my belly button, okay? So I'm sitting down, so his head's really low right now, but I teach that online first so that they feel like the best place in the world is right here on my belly button close to me, okay? And that means, and that's good because if they go anywhere in the arena at Liberty, I can always get them back because they think this is the best spot. So when I teach that online, I'm very specific about where their head needs to be, and we're going to do it at Liberty, but where their head needs to be to get the release and the relaxation. Saki? Good boy. Good boy. So this is a good spot right here, okay? And then when we talk about being concise, one of the ways that I'm concise is that I'm using one word to ask him to come to me. But within that, there's a lot going on. So I'm asking him not only to draw to me, but to come to me and put his head here. I'm asking him not to run over me when he comes to me. And I'm asking him to relax once he gets to me. Okay, so there's a lot in the draw that's happening when I say voila. So that's one concise word that means all of those things. Now, I didn't teach all of those things at once. You know, when I started, I had him online, and I would draw him to me, and then he'd get to me, and I'd kind of put his nose where I wanted it to be, and then I might give him one of three things. Relaxation. I'd definitely give him a release. I'd stop drawing him to me, give him a release. He'd have some relaxation time, which is kind of what he's having right now, and he likes. Or I'd give him a reward, which is a treat, and more on that in another video. So I taught him that first, and that took several sessions. So it didn't all happen overnight, but that one word does mean all those things. And that's what's cool about being concise. And that's what's great about being concise when we are communicating with other people. Sometimes too much verbiage is too much, and we can't process it. Horses are the same way. we can only give them a certain amount that they can handle at that time. And we need to know our horses well enough to know what's too much. And every horse is different. So that's why it's really important to get to know your horse. But more on those 4 components later, okay? So basically this is how you are teaching a horse's name or her name, and then how you draw them to you. I'd love to see you guys practicing this, and if you are struggling with it, or if you want to show off, post a video on Revelation Horsemanship, our Facebook page, and I can help you. If you have any questions, I can help you with how to teach the name or how to draw your horse to you. So I'd love to see what you guys are doing. All right, see you soon.